Hey, what's going on, you guys? The Keith Carnes here. Hope you read the disclaimer. It lets you know that this video was 100% my opinion, and this is my least favorite Star Wars episode all the way to my absolute favorite episode. So if you have a different opinion, that's great. I'd love to see it in the comment section below. But just letting you know, I'm not saying this is fact, this is my opinion. So without further ado, let's get on with the countdown. Thank you for viewing, by the way. So this is obviously going to be a top 6 countdown, because as of this recording, here in March of 2014, there are only 6 episodes in the saga. So this is my least favorite episode all the way to the one I enjoy the most. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's go ahead and kick it off with number 6, my least favorite of the 6. So yeah, here we go. Alright guys, as you saw, number 6 is Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now this is probably surprising to probably everybody that's watching this video, as majority of the people in the world would put Episode 1 as their least favorite, but I'm here to explain to you why this is my least favorite. Because it's fucking boring, that's why. Let's face it, as much as people hate Episode 1, Episode 1 had Darth Maul, and for me, that's why I don't find it as hard to watch as I do Episode 2. In fact, I'm going to say this, and it's not a popular opinion. I don't even think Episode 1 was bad. Now, I understand the whole hate of Jar Jar Binks and the shitty dialogue, and even the acting was pretty bad. But let's face facts here. It's just popular to hate Episode 1. And to me, Episode 2 is worse. I mean, it really was. It was just fucking boring. I mean, when you look back at Episode 2, what do you remember from it? Nothing. I mean, really, come on. No offense. I know a lot of people watching this might like him, but I just found Count Dooku to be one of, if not the worst villain ever made. I mean, he is just such a snore fest. And I love Christopher Lee. He's a great actor. He's a legend. And no disrespect to him as an actor, he acted great in the role. The problem was his character was fucking lame and boring and completely just it lacked creativity. I mean, look at all the assists that came before him, like, you know, Darth Maul, Darth Vader, Darth Sidious, and not to mention all the countless in the books and comic books before Episode 2 was made. So yeah, you know, ugh. So yeah, Episode 2, it just gets last place on my list as my least favorite because I watch it the least. I never really watch it actually at all. It was boring. There was really nothing memorable about it. It's basically just a love fest between Padme and Anakin, and no offense, but in Star Wars, I really don't give a fuck to see 2 young people fall in love. I mean, is this a chick flick or is this a guy science fiction? What is it? It's almost like it just can't decide. It's like I don't know, it doesn't know what it wants to be is the best way for me to describe this movie. I mean, this movie's almost a disaster. And I guess the only plus thing about it is Jango Fett's in it, but is he really enough to say he's a plus side? No, he's really not. So Episode 2, last place for a good reason. Let's move on to 5th place. Alright guys, that's right. At number 5 is Star Wars Episode 1. A lot of you probably saw this coming as being second worst. But as I said, I actually do enjoy Episode 1, but it is my least favorite out of the good ones. Now, it also gets up high there because there's a lot wrong with this movie. Jar Jar Binks, as pretty much everybody would agree, Jar Jar Binks is just a terribly annoying character in every way, shape, and form. There was loopholes in the movie that just didn't make any sense. Like, in the beginning of the movie, they force run in the very beginning of the movie, and then during the duel with Darth Maul, when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan first Darth Maul, Obi-Wan never uses Force Run to ever catch up and help his master Qui-Gon take out Darth Maul, thus allowing Darth Maul to best Qui-Gon and killed Qui-Gon in the process. It just didn't make sense. Like, I understand why it happened, but it just didn't make sense. You should not have put Force Run in the beginning of the movie if the Jedi were never going to use it again. Another problem with this movie, the lack of Darth Maul. Darth Maul is easily one of the best characters they've ever created, ever, and he's barely in this movie. I mean, this movie is... I'm not going to pull out the Blu-rays, but this movie is probably like at least 2 hours and 15, 2 hours and 20 minutes, at least, give or take. We'll just say it's 2 hours. You know, it's a 2-hour movie, and Darth Maul is barely even in the goddamn thing. I mean, he is what draws people to Star Wars Episode 1. I mean, when they relaunched it for 3D, and yes, I saw it in 3D, and yeah, it was okay in 3D, he was the cover boy for it. I mean, he was the poster boy for it, so to speak. I mean, every poster, there was Darth Maul's face. Like, he was the biggest cutout in the poster, because they knew that people that weren't familiar with Star Wars but were like, oh, a Star Wars film is coming back to theaters? Okay. Oh, look at that. That's a cool character. I want to go see it because of him. And then you're like, wow, he's barely in it. And not to mention the fact that he has an awesome fucking dual-sided lightsaber, which he... at least as of this recording, before episodes 7, 8, and 9 come out, he's the only fucking guy to ever use it in the movie, and they barely showed it. And killing Darth Maul off in the end of the movie, why? Why would you not carry him over at least to episode 2, if not episode 3? But I think they should have carried him all the way to 3, had Anakin kill him, and then Anakin becomes Vader. I'm sorry, I just think that would have been cooler. To actually be able to see Anakin, who obviously has turned to the dark side. I think they should have turned him to the dark side, and Sidious sets Darth Maul up, betrays Darth Maul, and has Darth Vader kill him. That would have been fucking beast, and then later in the movie you get to see Obi-Wan confront Vader. It would have been a way better movie, and Darth Maul would have been utilized way better, but unfortunately, I don't have the say, and he was wasted. He was just a wasted character, and it's really just too bad. Anyway, guys, let's go on to 4th place. Coming in at number 4, as you saw, is, well, Episode 4, A New Hope. That's right, it gets 4th place on the list. And I love this movie. I do. I absolutely... Actually, Star Wars Episode 4 I've probably watched the most, not because obviously it's not my favorite. It's just a relaxing movie in a weird kind of way. And I think the reason is because it's when, you know, Luke is like first coming into knowing that his existence is so much more than what it is just being basically a farm boy with his Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. It's just so cool to see him go from just being a nobody to becoming a somebody, so to speak. And I just love this movie, I really do, and anybody that's seen it will definitely agree. It is just such a great movie. Plus the fact to know, to be able to think in your head, this was what started it all. I mean, that alone boosted up on the list of my top favorites. But I honestly just enjoy it. It's really cool to see how Han Solo gets involved with the whole, you know, Empire and all that kind of shit. It's cool to see how he and Chewie met the Skywalker family. It's just really cool to see all of that come together. How Princess Leia and Han Solo become, you know, a couple. 3PO meets R2-D2. It's a really important episode, and it's a really fun episode. I can't stress enough how fun it is just to sit back and watch this, and I watch it more times than I probably should admit. And I do love it, but unfortunately, this is my list of the ones I thought were the best, not the one I like to watch the most, because if it was the ones I like to watch the most, Episode 4 would probably be number 1. But this is the ones that I thought were just the best. So let's go to number 3 and see which one I think see which next 3 I thought were better than Episode 4, A New Hope. So let's go. Alright, you guys, coming in, as you just saw, is number 3, is Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Well, I just said Jedi, which actually, until October 2012 is when Disney bought it. Up until that point was known as the final movie in the saga. Won't be anymore. But Return of the Jedi is considered to be the most important episode in the saga. Now, I disagree, and I will explain that later. But Episode 6 is definitely an extremely important episode. Spoiler alert, in case you're watching this for some reason you haven't seen Star Wars, you might want to... Well, I've already spoiled shit, huh? Well, I guess I don't need to say spoiler. Well, damn. Anyway, Episode 6, it sees the fall of the Empire. It sees the fall of Sidious. Darth Vader gets redeemed in the end and dies. And it's an extremely important episode because it's the end of Darth Vader and Sidious's reign. That's really what makes this episode so important, but it's just such a cool episode. Now, a lot of people kind of have a hard time with this one because they love Episode 6, but there's stuff they hate about it. And one of the things is the Ewoks. I've even seen some people over the internet compare the Ewoks to being equivalent to Jar Jar Binks. Now, I definitely, myself, I would not even go near that far. But the Ewoks, I will admit, do kind of get old. It's just kind of like, okay, really? They're basically like fucking teddy bears, and they're actually helping take out the Empire. Really? I don't know what Lucas was thinking there, but I don't know what he was thinking with Episodes 1 and 2 in it either. So, I don't know, dude. But Episode 6 was really good. Enough joking around. It was really good. It was cool to see the dialogue between Luke and Vader when Luke Skywalker is trying to turn his dad trying to redeem him back to the light side of the Force. And it's just almost so emotional because you can just like feel it in Darth Vader that he knows he fucked up. And he basically tells his son that, look, obviously he doesn't say it this way, but in a nutshell, he basically just says, look, I know I messed up. I know that there's a little good in me, but it's just too late. I can't go back. There's too much damage done, and I have to obey my master, and his wishes are to turn you into a Sith. And it was just cool to see a more human side of Darth Vader, and be able to see that he truly could care enough to save family, and that, because Luke and Leia, but Luke was there in front of him, was really the only remnants of Padme. And now, that we have the first the three prequels, now we can connect that all together and you can make up your own reasons of why. And, Darth Vader, Anakin, he never got over the death of Padme. That's what fueled his anger. And his one way to redeem himself was to save his son, and he did. So, it was an awesome episode, of course, one of my favorites, but not my favorite. And let's move on to number 2. Okay, guys, at number 2 is Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. That's right. Empire Strikes Back is second place, not first. Now, this is pretty much regarded as the best Star Wars movie of all the times. But I don't agree. I love the movie. It's second place on my list, obviously. I love it. The opening scene on Hoth. Just everything about it. I'm trying to look for specific things, but just everything about this movie is badass. You actually get to see Darth Vader come down to the ice shaft. To the ice cave to where, the good guys are hiding out, and you see just this black suit with this black helmet, this black mask just walking down, and he's so out of place. Even the clone troopers kind of belong, because they're white and they go with the background. And then you just see Darth Vader, and he's the only fucking all blacked out guy there. It's just so awesome. And there's just something about seeing him in snow that is just so kind of surreal. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you see the movies, you probably know what I'm talking about. Of course, this movie is one of the most important episodes, though, because you do find out that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. You also get to see Yoda for the first time. Yoda begins training Luke Skywalker, teaches him to not doubt himself, teaches him there is no try, only do. I can't do a Yoda voice, or I would. It's a really cool episode. Yoda's a kick in the pants. In the beginning, you think Yoda, before you know Yoda's testing him, you think, Yoda's a loony, and in the end, he was trying to test Luke's patience, which Luke had none. And well, Luke lost his patience fast, and a Jedi has to have complete patience. And it was just a very clever movie. I love it to death. Being able to see, you know, the probably the most famous scene in Star Wars, where Vader reveals that he is Luke's father, and tells him to, join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. And you're just, I root for the Sith. I like Sith better. I just think they're cooler. And honestly, if I lived in that time, if I lived in their world, I probably would be a Sith, because I think their code is better, Let's face it, there's never going to be peace in the world, so why try to make peace? It's kind of true. It is a cool thing. But Episode 5 gets second place because I loved it. It wasn't the most important. Return of the Jedi was more important, but I'm not going off that. I'm just going off of which ones I liked the most. Episode 5 to me was an awesome movie, but it's just not my favorite, which brings us to number 1 on the list, which we'll go to right now. That's right, guys. Number 1 is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, some people may get pissed about this. Some people may get irritated about this, whatever. I don't really care. Like I said in the beginning, this is my opinion, and I'll explain to you and justify my reason for putting Episode 3 as the best Star Wars ever made. First of all, it is the darkest of the saga. It is the darkest, and what I mean by that is this movie is violent. This movie is disturbing at times, and it really gives you a mixed rush of emotions. Sometimes you're angry because you're just like, why would Anakin do this? Well, why would he turn his back on, the Jedi and even kill who he would call friends? Excuse me. Anger. Also, he kills kids, for fuck's sake. He kills young Padawan learners, these kids that cannot defend themselves. He kills them in cold blood, and you're just like, holy shit. And they don't show this killing of the kids, but the way they do it, where Anakin walks in there and the little kid asks Master Skywalker, there are too many of them, what are we going to do? And Vader just has that evil look on his face. You can only see like that much of his eye, and he just looks so like pissed but sad at the same time. Ignites his lightsaber, and then it just goes. It leaves that, and you obviously know he kills him. That was really dark, and from what I understand, I kind of read up on Episode 3, of course, and from what I understand, that almost got left out because that almost increased the rating to an R. Just that alone, but they went ahead and they just let it go, and they said, okay, fuck it, fine. The movie's completely clean other than that, but yeah, that's how powerful that scene was. And I think it's great that it's in there, Of course I'm not kill the kids, no. But it just shows you how evil Darth Vader became. He went from being a very caring and loving person to being a hateful, evil guy that was just out for his own benefit and was willing to do anything, and by anything, that means killing younglings. The confrontation between Obi-Wan and Anakin for the first time since he learns of Anakin's treachery. Awesome. Just goosebumps all the way the first time I saw it in theaters. It was just awesome. And their fucking duel is amazing. The soundtrack in that movie is fucking perfect. And like I said, it just gives you a rush of emotion. You're mad, you're sad, you really feel for these characters that are just completely out of a guy's imagination. And, seeing Padme be heartbroken, and Anakin force chokes her, and he faces his best friend, and then when Obi-Wan cuts off his fucking legs and his arms, and he's down there, and Anakin just says, I hate you, in such a hateful voice. It is a very powerful movie, and it is so fucking good. And that is why Star Wars Episode 3 gets number 1 for me, because I think it's the most important, because it's the rise of Darth Vader, who would go on to become the biggest villain of all time, in my opinion. Most opinions. I've watched plenty of top 10 lists, and he's always number 1. And it just goes to show you that some people will do anything to save the ones they love. I mean, it is an awesome movie, and it really moves you, you know, because it's just, I mean, that's what's so amazing about it, is that none of it's based on a true story. It's all made up, but it just drives so much emotion from you as a viewer. And like I said, it makes you feel sad. I mean, it's almost a tearjerker at times in a geeky way, because you have this perfect Jedi who was supposed to bring balance to the Force, but instead, in Obi-Wan Kenobi's words, leaves it in darkness. And it was just so, like I said, it was a perfect movie in my opinion. It was great. And they did away with all the bullshit from episodes 1 and 2 with all the comedy. There was no comedy in this movie that I remember. It was just strictly business, so to speak. And it was really cool. It was an awesome, awesome, awesome movie. And yeah, like I said, that's why it gets #1 for me. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, this is Vicky Carnes. Duh. And yeah, if you guys want, go ahead and leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. As long as they're respectable, they will remain. If you're a dick, they'll be deleted, and you'll be blocked from my channel. And yeah, I guess that's it. So once again, I thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks to all my great subscribers. If you guys want to leave me your own list below, I welcome it with pleasure. I'd like to see your list, and not only put the list, but let me know why, because I want to know your reasons for each episode like I did. It would be really cool. Anyway, guys, hate to repeat myself, but this is E. Keith Carnes. I will see you guys in the next. Any suggestions, just PM me or leave them in the comment section below. See you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.